Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Meant to Be Monday. I'm your host, Paul Turner, and today I want to talk to you about creating a bucket strategy to get all that content you come in contact with every day and all the content you create into the right buckets and to the right people on the right platform. You see, the whole point of creating content or sending content to the various buckets we have is for engagement. Either we're helping people who know Jesus grow in Jesus better, or we're helping people maybe discover Jesus who have never discovered Jesus before. So let me show you the three buckets that I have here. So when I create something, whether it's a devotional, whether it's a piece of video I've created, something like that, I have to decide what am I going to do with these buckets. So let me show you the first bucket. My first bucket here is the parent bucket. Okay, that's a bucket where I'm going to put content. Then I have a student bucket, right? There's stuff I want to get out to my students. The third bucket is maybe it's my team. Now you can have more than three buckets. I'm just having three buckets. But you have other buckets like your team that you work with, your pastor, or maybe the church you're trying to communicate with. And so I give you a few ideas of some of the content that I create or content that I come in contact with. Let's say I just got back from a conference. And usually at a conference, there are a ton of ideas and things like that. So what am I going to do with all this stuff? How am I going to sort out all the stuff I've learned? Well, that's kind of the point of having the buckets. And so example, I just got back from a YS conference. It was a 2-day deal, and I learned a lot about wisdom, that the whole conference is about wisdom. So I have this booklet that is packed with points and tips and websites. The question is, how do I get all that content into the right bucket and into the right platform? So example, I have parents, I have a Facebook group with parents. So I can take all that content from the YS meeting and I can do an in-person, bring them all together, do a Sunday school class for them, and do 5 weeks of how to help your kids grow in wisdom. I can do some Facebook posts, right? Because most of my parents are on Facebook. And I can share with them in just a certain amount of posts that I can share with them about what the wisdom was, what the conference was about, but also help them with their students grow in wisdom by giving them files or giving them handouts or things like that. Now, that same wisdom that I'm going through in the books here, I could be going through with the students, but it'll look very different, right? So I can then go to my students and say, well, what do I want my students to know about wisdom? Well, I can be teaching that in Sunday school. I could be sending out a group of texts and do 30 days worth of texts on wisdom while I'm teaching on it. I could do some nice little Instagram photos, right? Instagram things like using word swag or something like that to be able to create scripture verses where I do 30 days on their Instagram. Or I could do something verbal about wisdom, and I only know I have about 15 seconds or so, but I could read maybe a quick scripture verse or encourage them to walk in wisdom on their Snapchat. So I'm taking basically the same content from the same conference and breaking it down into three buckets. Then you have the church with your pastor. Well, what can I teach my pastor about what I learned in that? And maybe I can do a little report, or maybe I can, maybe through a sermon, right, talk about, which is a way to communicate with all of these people, my team, my pastor, my church, about what we're going through for wisdom, right? And so all those different formats will work, right? All these buckets, I put them in the right bucket, in the right format, and on the right platform so that the message can get out. So example, take what you do on every Wednesday night. Every Wednesday night, we are content creators. We are creating things. We have worship, we have offering, we have games, we have a sermon, we have small groups. We have all these things that we have that are things that kids say, testimonies they have. Why not share that? Put that in the right bucket. What testimonies do parents need to hear from kids? What testimonies do students, to other students? What testimonies do our pastors need to hear? That we can put together a collection of quotes from that night of what the kids felt about the service. So there's all kinds of ways to use content, but sometimes there's so much of it through videos and articles we read, all those kind of things that we have here. But if we can create a bucket system, find the right bucket to how we're going to do that, put it in the right bucket, but then also choosing the right platform, we're going to be able to get more information out to parents, to students, and to pastors, our pastors, and even the church. So but that's my strategy. I'd like to know what your strategy is. Do you have a way of breaking down everything you create or everything you do in a meeting? Remember, the whole goal of this is to be able to communicate, right, and engage parents, students, and your pastor on a level to where you can be able to communicate what's going on in your youth ministry, or to help parents grow, right, in their faith, help kids grow in their faith, or help people discover who Jesus is who don't know who Jesus is, right? So I'd love to know, what is your content strategy? What do you do with the information you get? What about all those conference notes? What about that YouTube video you watch? What about all these things that you have here? What bucket can you put them in? I'd love to know what your strategy is. Let me know what you do with all that, and maybe you might inspire somebody else on here. So leave your comments down below. And if you're a brand spanking new, thanks for hanging out with me for a little while. I appreciate you being here. Be sure to hit the subscribe button right here if you want more videos like this in your inbox. And of course, I'd love to send them to you. I do about 2 a week, plus some bonus videos from time to time. And I would love you to be a part of this community. Also, if you're a regular, thank you so much. Appreciate you guys being here. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button. That means you like this video and you want more videos like them. But please also be willing to share this video with some other folks, maybe your network, or maybe your youth staff, or maybe just some other youth pastors in your area who think this might be of interest to them. We would love to have them as part of the discussion, as part of the community. So anyway, guys, thanks for being here. Appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys next time tomorrow on the Tuesday Panic. Bye.